Welcome to Stop Wasting Your Wine, a wine review podcast dedicated to helping you discover great wines with great value for every occasion. On this episode, we review
the Priore Barolo 2021 from Cantine Povero.
It's Barolo week. 3 weeks ago.
It's Barolo week.
I said, this is going to be fun. It's going to be 3 really fun wines. But I said, I'm really excited for that Barolo. It's Barolo week. I'm so excited.
Barolo week.
My gosh. I should introduce us, by the way. Joel talking here. Hi, welcome to the show. As always, joined by my 2 best buds, Aaron and Colin.
Hey, buddy.
Guys, what do you think? This is week 3 of our Nebbiolo mini-series, getting into what is often called the king of Italian wines. King of Nebbiolo? King of Italian wines? I think both, right?
He's just the king of wine, to be honest.
The king of wine.
King of
Wow.
wine. The king of wine.
Unbelievable.
The king.
How you guys feeling?
I'm excited. I feel like we've been building up to this moment.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, our journey so far has been amazing. You know, I hope that continues. I can't wait to see what this wine's bringing to the table this evening.
Let's talk about the journey as well, because if our friends are listening here and they haven't been with us in the last couple of episodes, this is week 3. We started with a Langhe Nebbiolo 2 weeks ago. We had a Barbaresco last week that was just lovely. Both of those were fantastic. And we've been kind of building ourselves up to the Barolo today that we're going to enjoy on this call. So that is our journey here, and that's how we are at this point.
I'm excited. I feel like I always am appreciative any episode where I walk away with some concrete knowledge about something. You know, wine tasting, wine analysis can be incredibly vague. And we talk about that all the time, how hard it is to blind taste, yada, yada, yada. To walk away with some kind of concrete understanding of something is a really exciting moment for me. And I feel like we really nailed down some important piece of information about Nebbiolo.
For sure.
And I've really enjoyed it, just exploring the region. You know, we've tried now three different bottles, and it's just been a really cool experiment to see how different the wines can be, even though it's the same grape coming from, oh God. Aaron, what cup is that?
Whoa.
Sorry, if you're not watching, Aaron has this, I guess, Italian-looking chalice.
Well, let's explain this.
Using the word chalice right now.
This as it actually was. He casually lifted up this very ornate, very beautiful chalice.
Well, look at that. Let's get that real in focus right there. Look at that. Nice. Yeah, it has grapes on it, vine. My wonderful mother-in-law, Lisa, found this somewhere, and I believe gave it to me for Christmas last year, just being like, wouldn't this be awesome for the podcast? And I've been saving it for the right Italian wine. And since we are drinking the king of wines, it seemed like the perfect day to bring out my Italian chalice. It is made in Italy. It is legit.
Wow.
And so, and we're going to learn how drinking out of a ceramic cup impacts the taste.
That's the way you want to do it, I hear. I was going to be mad at you for sitting on that. Of course, yeah. I was going to be mad at you for sitting on that for a year, but then your reasoning was really, really solid, and I'm proud of you. So, well done.
King of wine.
Aaron, you're Italian? I had no idea.
Have I ever mentioned you guys? I am pretty Italian, yeah.
No, had no idea.
I had no
idea.
I
don't know if I've ever brought that up before.
Anyway, before I was interrupted by Aaron's ridiculous cup. Just to sum it up, I've really enjoyed what we've been doing here, looking at the differences between the regions, and excited to cap it off with the Barolo this evening.
Yeah, for sure. You guys nailed it. I mean, it's been so cool. We've gone all around Piemonte, and I have learned so much. It's like I knew for sure the Barolo, always been a big fan, but then actually talking through the differences of the regions within Piedmont has been really, really cool. So yeah, excited to cap it off, guys. This is gonna be lovely.
I've learned that it's Piedmont or Piemonte, depending on how fancy you want to sound. Same place, right?
Or Italian you want to sound.
How Italian you want to be.
Yeah.
Learned that it's Langhe Valley, and that Barolo and Barbaresco are areas within the Langhe Valley, which is something I did not know. I'll just name that?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm very excited about the amount of information that I am leaving this mini series with.
Well, let's add a little bit more information because we're only 2/3 of the way through. I'm excited for this one. Aaron, tell everybody listening a little bit more about this wine that we're going to be drinking today.
All right, so no surprise today on the producer. This is Cantine Povero. This is the Priore. I like that they give a little name for each of these wines, by the way. Cool. Very fun. This is their Barolo, which again, listeners, things we've learned, we're moving together on this, is still 100% Nebbiolo. So we're 3 weeks in a row of 100% Nebbiolo. This is the 2021, and converting this from euros to American to where you're getting this, we think this bottle is probably going to cost you somewhere between $30 and $40, depending on where you find it, and it's 14.5% ABV.
Editing note, Colin, can you edit the Zach Galifianakis as he's playing blackjack in Hangover when all the equations are going around his head when he's trying to card count? Can you add that over Aaron as he was talking about converting euros to USD?
Definitely do that on Instagram for a thing, just so you know.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Please
That's
do.
Definitely a cap cut insert, 100%. But
I love it. Also, there's apps that'll do that for you. They're very convenient. Have you heard of these apps? There's one for everything.
Yeah.
There's also just the internet. You don't even need an app. You just Google it.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wild.
I think also, before we even get into it, can we just give one more huge thank you to Lucrezia and just everybody
100%.
at Cantine Povero? My gosh, this just talking to Lucrezia and everything that they sent our way. We're so grateful.
Absolutely.
And we've been enjoying these wines so much. Looking forward to getting into this one.
And if this is the first episode that you're joining us, please go back, listen to the awesome interview with Lucrezia and the start of this Nebbiolo miniseries and work your way through, because it's been a lot of fun and these wines are totally worth checking out across the board.
100%. 100%. Speaking of checking out wines, let's check this wine out, guys.
Do we get to?
Yeah.
I'll go to my normal modern glass.
Oh, he has a regular glass.
Regular glass.
You can go either way, man. Either way, baby.
Tastes like wine.
All right, so we've got our Barolos here. Let's give this thing a sniff. I'm going to go to Colin today. Colin, what are you getting?
Yeah, I think the oak on the nose is definitely more pronounced than I think we've had in either the Langhe or the Barbaresco. I think you're getting a lot more of those baking spices. I think last week with the Barbaresco it was a little bit more just vanilla, but I think in here you still do get the vanilla, but maybe also maybe a little cinnamon or something like that is what I'm getting. And then I think the other major difference from what we've had so far is the earthiness on this wine. And I wouldn't say, we've picked up floral, especially in last week's wine, was very floral with rose petals. I'm not getting as much floral, but I'm getting this earthy kind of dirt note to it. And I mean dirt in the nicest way possible.
Totally.
But I don't know. What are you guys picking up anything else?
I mean, a lot of what you said, you took all the good notes, but I would say a lot of the deeper fruit, a lot more plum, I think, less. I feel like when the Barbaresco, we got a really high cherry note, right off the bat, and it's a little bit less of that and a little bit more of the, darker fruit smells.
It's a little bit more of a, I would say, what's the word? I almost want to say luxurious. Okay, stick with me on that one. It's just it's a little deeper red. The fruit is much more subtle and is darker. Yeah, it's and I'm not saying that it's jammy or that it's overripe or anything. It's just a darker fruit in there. And then I'm trying to kind of pick apart whether it's the alcohol that I'm sensing or just maybe a little bit of almost a medicinal quality in there too.
Yeah, a little mintiness maybe.
Yeah.
Is that maybe what you're picking up on? Because I get that as well.
I like that mintiness.
I don't know if that's the wine or the alcohol, but I do get a little burny which I don't think we experienced on either of the other ones.
Which is because I think the Barbaresco was also 14.5, but didn't have that same kind of burny sense. And the Longate, while also being the exact same grape in the way it's produced, was 13.5.
There's definitely some complexity here. I mean, there's I think a lot of flavors we haven't seen so far, and in a different order too. I think Joel, you kind of nailed it when you said it's not necessarily fruit forward as some of the other wines. This definitely is more like other forward with some of those red fruits that you guys mentioned.
I like you said earthy. I think there's something about the combination between like the darker red fruit and earthiness. It just feels I like that you said luxurious. I think you felt kind of silly when you said that, but like, when reading about like Barbaresco, like one of the phrases that often comes up is like silky or perfumey, and this is supposed to be like heavier and not less expensive, but a little bit more like if Barbaresco is like that new fancy furniture that you bought. The Barolo is like the antique armoire that's been handed down for like 8 generations, and it's still worth a shit ton of money, but it has age to it.
Yeah. In my head was one of those like French sofa things where there's only a back on like half of it, and you would imagine somebody
chaise lounge, baby.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. But you're right, one that was from like the 18th century
No, that's actually perfect. That's like the Barbaresco is like a new chaise lounge, very luxurious. Like, do you really need that? Like, where's that going in your home? And the Barolo is a chaise lounge that's been handed down from like generation to generation.
Yes,
a little dusty,
dusty. Has a little mold like kind of caked into the scent, but not in a bad way. Just like
that's why people want it, baby.
That's why you want it.
Yeah,
because that's fancy. That's big money. That's old money mold.
Exactly. Yeah. We wanted that when we bought it. All right, let's drink this thing. All right, I'm going backwards. Aaron, thoughts?
I mean, right off the bat, again, so funny, so amazing. This is the same grape. Like, right off the top, the amount of tannin in this wine versus the Barbaresco versus the Longate Nebbiolo is just significantly different. It's
yes.
It's just like a lot grippier, a lot like fuller. And again, like that's so wild because we know that the only major difference, I mean, outside of like terroir and climate, is like aging differential and the amount of oak that it sees. It just creates this completely different experience than what we had in the past 2 bottles from the same producer and the same grape.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you mentioned the tannin because I was trying to rip my jaw apart to say yes that I agreed with you there because the tannin is grippy. It's not, I would say it's not overly like scratchy or anything, but it's just so intense. I mean, just outrageously intense, almost lockjaw intense amount of tannin.
But I will say, correct me if I'm wrong, we've tried some Barolos before, not on the show, but like just in our lives. And I think in the grand scheme of tannic Barolos, this is not as punch in the mouth as some others that we've had.
I almost see your face of disagreement, Colin, but I'm going to jump in and say I was thinking the same thing, actually, Aaron. Like, I was almost expecting this to be weighty, and have, almost a ton going on when we were drinking it. But it's much more approachable than I thought that it was going to be.
Yeah, I think if you just take a sip, the tannin doesn't really show itself as intensely, but if you do kind of like the swish around in your mouth, that's when you really, really get that tannin. Nice acidity though. Joel, I think approachable is a good word because it's not as intense even as I think the nose would make you believe. You do get some of the oak, but it's again not even as intense as the oak on the nose either.
Yeah. For me, that oak is just kind of lingering on the finish a little bit, reminding
which
me that
was
it's there.
Very similar to the Barbaresco, but based on the nose, I thought we were going to get kind of hit with the oak. But
for sure,
I think those darker red fruits was a really good call, and you get a little bit of that earth as well. I think.
I think I want to go beyond earth, and I want to say this is kind of reminding me of like I'm not a huge cigar smoker, but I like a cigar every now and then. It's fun, and I'm kind of getting that like tobacco-y, just smoked a cigar kind of feel in your mouth and taste, which again I kind of really dig with some big bold reds. And so, yeah, I got a little tobacco-y kind of aspect. And I think that goes really well with what you're saying about like the earthiness and like the deep reds.
Yeah, that's good. Tobacco for sure. But sweet tobacco. It's almost not like smoked tobacco. It's kind of almost like what I associate with like a pipe as opposed to a cigar. You know, it has that kind of sweet tobacco smell to it. But that's just how I'm experiencing it.
The most Italian person that I've ever met in my life was my grandfather. And it was also the only person I ever knew in my life that would literally smoke like an old school pipe. You know, just like the one, you know, just like, and it had such a distinct smell to it.
Good.
And I know exactly what you're talking about, and definitely can draw that connection to what we're drinking right now.
Wild. All right. Well, perfect, guys. I think great first run through. This is one to, I know we talk about this. We have been for the last couple. I think we should note we really gave this one some time to breathe and open up. And I think that that's been really beneficial. This is one that you got to give it the love that it deserves.
For sure.
And give this thing some time to open up and breathe a little bit. We have varying levels. Colin, I think you've been open for about 3 hours, you said.
Yeah.
Maybe an hour and a half over here,
sure.
And then Aaron, maybe an hour.
Yeah,
and boy, it's just
a little over an hour.
Okay. Yeah, just I think getting better and better. All that to say, let's put this thing aside for a second because I think we'll have some interesting developments here, and let's do some wine drops.
Time to drop some knowledge. Wine drops.
All right, so last couple of weeks, we have just been learning, again, just so much. Obviously, we've been drinking all Nebbiolos, but wild how much there is to learn about Longue versus Barbaresco and now Barolo. A lot of the differences and a lot of the impact on what we're drinking really comes down to the terroir, the different things that are going on in the location where the grapes are being grown. We know Barolo sits a little bit higher in elevation than Barbaresco. Colin, how does that, the elevation and the associated climate really impact the grape and what we're drinking today?
So elevation allows the grapes to ripen more slowly, which is going to allow the grapes to build up that concentration of flavor and tannin. It also helps keep that really nice acidity. And Barolo's known for being a high acid, high tannin wine, and I think we're seeing that with this wine for sure. So I think we've experienced quite a bit of difference between Barolo and Barbaresco. But as far as style is concerned, Aaron, can you dig a little bit deeper into what people can really expect the difference to be between Barolo and Barbaresco?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've named a lot of it over the past 2 episodes, but and I love the analogy that we were kind of coming up with earlier, with the Chaise Lounge. But I think when you really name it, it's like the Barolo is powerful, it's structured, it's big, it's bold, it's all the pieces of Nebbiolo that you've been experiencing kind of cranked up to 11. And then Barbaresco has all of that, but I think it's a little smoother, it's a little more elegant, and it's just been softened a little bit. So, you just kind of imagine like everything's just kind of been sanded down to a point that everything's there, but it's just a little bit more accessible. They're both incredibly complex, but it's just kind of what you're looking for, I think, if you enjoy Nebbiolo, and that's why I think this series this week has been so great. It's like, okay, you try the Nebbiolo Longue, like, and then from there, like, where do you want to go? Do you want to go, like, I like these flavors and I want to keep everything kind of accessible and nice, or do I want to just get, like, punched in the face with this? And then, so it's like Barbaresco or Barolo, depending on where you want to go with it. So, we get to that point, but it's not magic. Choices are made to get to this point. A lot of that has to do with aging. Joel, can you kind of remind our listener what are the rules around aging for each one?
Yeah, because you're right. Outside of the climate and the elevation, all that, the aging is really the big factor here when we're talking Barbaresco versus Barolo. Barbaresco is aged 2 years. 9 months of those are going to be in an oak barrel. Barolo, aged 3 years, 18 months of those in an oak barrel. So, on our first review, we were already picking up on the fact that we're getting a lot more of that oak influence.
Double the time,
exactly. Getting a lot more of that oak influence, getting, a lot more of those baking spices and that whole thing. So I think coming through and really quite evident. The other thing that's really interesting about Barolos is, man, you can lay these things down for a while. And not only can you, but maybe should you. A little extra time in the bottle, relaxing and aging there really kind of tends to soften these up and change up the experience over time that you're going to get in this bottle. So if you do have a couple of these on hand, enjoy one. Take your notes, let that thing sit for a year or two, and then open it up and see how things have changed. I think that'd be a really cool thing to do.
And Joe, I just want to say before you move on, like a fun thing about that, I think, is also like a younger Barolo, for the most part, comparatively, it doesn't need to be super expensive. So you have this potential to buy a relatively affordable bottle of wine and then lay it down for 10, 20 years, whatever it is, and then get something
so much
special
patience.
out of that. So much patience.
Yeah.
You have to hide it from yourself. Put it somewhere you won't find it.
Pretend it doesn't exist. My Lord, that would take so much willpower. But you're absolutely right. It would be so cool just to see over time how these things change and the effect there. And speaking of, just how they change and the flavors involved, Colin, tell us a little bit more. I think we've called out a lot of these, but just in general with Barolo, what kind of flavors can we expect when we're enjoying one?
Sure. Yeah. And, again, Nebbiolo's going to Nebbiolo. So we're going to find...
As they say.
Yeah, they do say that. You're going to find a lot of the same flavors we've seen in the other wines. Some cherry, some raspberry, some red plum, I think is somebody called that out. Really good call on this one, Aaron. I think that was you. Well done. And then the floral note as well, still going to be there. And then with the Barolos, this is really where you see some of that tar, but that usually happens with aging. I haven't really experienced it on this one. You can also get some dried Italian herbs, tobacco. Aaron, I think another really good call. You're kind of killing it today.
Hey, after 2 years, I'm getting there. And I got to say, I am still pretty stoked that we have not found that tar note. I know I know that you're saying that's part of the experience. I'm pretty happy that we have not experienced that.
No, I'm going to find a wine for you that has the flavor of tar in it, and it's going to change the way you feel about that because it's, again, I mentioned it the other episode, but it's awesome.
Gotta experience it to believe it, I guess.
Yeah.
Not sold.
And I will try to get you there. And then you can also sometimes find some truffle as well in here. Other than that, I think we've kind of mentioned it as far as structure is concerned. Super intense structure, lots of acid, lots of tannin. So, definitely a slightly different expression of Nebbiolo, but you're going to get a lot of the same basic fruits and stuff like that.
I just got to call out the service we have just provided. If you have listened to episodes 1, 2, and 3 of this series, you now have like a pretty good base knowledge of the wines from Piedmont, the Nebbiolo wines, at least from Piedmont.
For sure.
That's pretty cool.
Very cool.
I learned
and I mean, I feel like just to jump onto that, I feel like this is a place where if we could rewind 2 years ago when Colin talked me into doing this thing, I've heard the word Barolo before, right? But I couldn't tell you anything about it. I could maybe tell you it's Italian. I would just tell you it's a fancy red wine. And I think there's...
Not wrong.
There's power... It's not a green wine. There's power in knowing what it is, right? Like knowing why it is highly sought after and knowing why it is different than a Nebbiolo from the area, because you can also hurt yourself, right? Being like, well, that's Nebbiolo, and I'm just going to buy this other Nebbiolo. I know Barolo's Nebbiolo, and this Nebbiolo is only $15, so I'm going to go buy that. And we've learned in the series that the reason Nebbiolo Longue is so much cheaper is because there's no restrictions at all on how they make it. So you might get a really great Nebbiolo like we did 2 weeks ago, which is just a lovely wine. Or you might get absolute crap because someone's trying to do something funny with it and the love isn't there that, this producer puts there. So I think, again, like there's power in the knowledge of what we're doing here.
Sure. Not only that, but like just understanding how the different regions and the different flavors that could possibly come out of the different regions. Like if you want a very structured wine that might be a little bit more fruit forward, maybe a little bit more floral forward, you go with the Barbaresco. Maybe you want something that's going to be a little bit earthier, maybe have some of those truffle notes, some of those dried herb notes, but with still, a whole bunch of structure, you go with the Barolo. So I think just understanding not only where these are coming from, but how that affects flavor and style, I think is also a super useful piece of information.
Right, it's really important there. I think there's probably people who have skipped Barbaresco looking at a chart, right? Like, let's say the availability of Nebbiolo, Barbaresco, and Barolo. There's some people who are like, well, I want to buy the nicest wine there. I want to buy the fanciest wine, the most expensive wine, and just jump to Barolo, assuming that it's just a higher quality and not thinking about that's just a different experience. Like, you don't have to drink Barolo to get the best Nebbiolo. Like, you might want Barbaresco because that is more aligned with what you like in wine.
Or what you're eating that day.
Or what you're eating that day.
Right.
And that's huge. Yeah. And that's a very different way of thinking than I would have had. And I think a lot of folks who are, novices going in there, like, if you're just going to look up to the highest one and say, okay, that's the best, rather than it's just different.
Well, now you have the knowledge. Now you know.
Knowledge is power.
And knowledge is power. All right, I have to know if anything's really changed on this thing. I think there's enough here to go back and just talk about it one more time anyway, especially having learned a little bit about Barolo in general here. Also, low bottle amount, low bottle alert. I've done some.
You're just pounding through this 14.
I share it with Kathy.
Okay.
Yeah, Kathy had a glass or two here, so.
Aaron also had a glass and then some. Really enjoyed it. I'd say personally, like, I am enjoying it more and more as time's going by. I'm really not to get into the review, but I'm just noticing the things I happen to like about wine. I blew it again. Just like, I like bold reds. I like tannins, and I think the more I'm learning about myself, I like the earthier, darker fruit flavors. And the more I've kept it open, and I'm also like aerating a little bit, just the more that stuff is becoming front and center, and the more I'm enjoying it.
I love that journey for you.
Thank you. Thank you for honoring my journey.
I've had mine open for a while, so I don't think it's really changed too much in the time that we've been sitting here. I will say it's changed a huge amount from the time that I opened it to the start of the show. That's for sure. The flavors came forward a little bit. The structure actually backed off a little bit.
Yes.
So there has been quite a bit of settling since I opened it. Now, 4 hours ago?
Yeah, it's so funny you say that, because I think I'm still in the window where I'm in the curve where it's happening a lot. And I'll tell you right now, I think that the fruit hasn't changed, but it's come forward a lot, and some of that alcohol that we were talking about a little bit before, where we were kind of like, oh, is it medicinal? Is it alcohol? What is it? It's softened.
So it's dissipated off.
Yeah, exactly. That acidity is still there. The tannins, I don't think, have changed. It's still very prevalent, but just in general, softened quite a bit. All right, I think we've done it, guys. Let's go ahead and let's get into our review here.
Yeah, but did they like it? It's time for the review.
So, as the host, and because we made this rule up, episode 1 of this series, I'm going to go ahead and allow myself to go last. Colin, kick us off, buddy.
Sure. Yeah, I think there's a lot of really nice things going on in this wine. I really like the flavor profile. I like the fruit, the earthiness. We called out a bunch of really interesting things. I just wish we were trying this. This is the 2021. I wish we were trying this in, 4 or 5 years. I think this wine is a little bit young right now. And while it's really tasty, I think given a little bit more time, it's going to get even that much better. I think the bones of this wine are really, really good. So I'm gonna put it in the must share category because it has a lot of really, really nice things going on. But I think we just on the tail end of it being good, and I think in a couple years it's going to be outstanding. So for that reason, I don't think it's outstanding now. So while I'm still enjoying it, and I still think it's good wine, and I still think it's a must share. I wish we could try it again in 4 or 5 years.
Colin, I actually love and agree with everything you said, which actually makes me even more excited because I am going to put this in my wine fridge because this is yes, because this is checking all the boxes of things that I like about wine right now. I love the tannic aspect. I love the flavor profile. It's really enjoyable. It's a super accessible price point.
That is true.
I'm gonna have to take my Bomdia sparkling wine out of my wine fridge to do this. It lives in a place of honor on my wine fridge shelf. I will still be buying that every time I walk through Penn Station about to get on the train because they sell it there, and I love it. Shout out to Penn Cellar and the folks at Bomdia. And I think this is a really wonderful example of really powerful Nebbiolo. And a cons point, I would buy a couple bottles of this and I would lay it down, and I'm super excited to drink it in 5 years. So it's going to sit in my wine fridge for 5 years, aging and getting that much better. But I really enjoy the profile. It's just exactly what I want, and I think the price point is super accessible. Yeah, I'm excited to keep drinking and keep trying it.
Totally agree. Oh, I love that we have a mush share and a wine fridge. That's super fun. I think I'm going to go with must share on this one as well. Let me give you my thoughts on this. So first, I mean, I think I totally agree, not to belabor this, but yeah, a couple years on this thing. Ooh, boy, oh boy. But I think it's amazing that it presents so well right now. I mean, this is it's at the infancy of its kind of drinkability phase. And it's so good and so enjoyable and so well-rounded and with so much runway to get even more so. So, so enjoyable, so cool, enjoying all the flavors and everything. I'm trying to think back and kind of compare it to that Barbaresco as well. And boy, I got to say, there's some things that I really loved about the Cantine Povero Barbaresco that, I'm kind of
now you're looking in the mirror
between a little bit. Yeah, I'm kind of like, ooh, I don't know.
Who am I? What do I like?
But I'm grateful that we live in a world where I can have both. I'll tell you that much. So really, really impressed with this. I had high expectations, I think, too, just on Barolo, and I would say met for sure. And like you said, I mean, I might go try to find another bottle and keep it in the wine fridge for
where
a little
it's
while.
Sold closest to me, and I'm stoked about it.
100%. Like I like it that much to where I want to go get another one and give it another couple of years and play with it in the future. So total must share.
Yahoo.
Love it. Man, a wine fridge episode always gets me psyched up. I don't know what it is.
For sure.
But I love it.
That's a big win.
But 3 weeks of this, I mean, huge.
Yeah.
Big thank you, gratitude to Cantine Povero for sending this to us. Sure. Just because, again, it's yes, you can compare Nebbiolo Longue, Barbaresco, and Barolo from like multiple different vendors and wineries, and you get the general idea. It's just been very cool to compare across the same brand so that the style and the philosophy doesn't change, and we're really just getting the difference with aging and climate and terroir and like all that good stuff.
Yeah, no, super high quality producer, no doubt about that. I would feel very comfortable trying any wine from Cantine Povero. We've seen that week after week here. So if you see one on the shelves, regardless of what it says on the label, absolutely grab it. For sure, 100%.
Get it. Not a waste of your wine.
Yeah, and I want to name directly right now. We are not paid. There were when they sent us their wine, we told them directly we are going to review this honestly, and they said go for it. And which is also a baller move. Yeah. Always baller. Very much appreciate the confidence in the wine, and paid off because it's just really good stuff.
That it is.
Absolutely. Love it. All right. Not a waste of your wine. I don't think we could talk any more highly about it. Just enjoyed everything these last couple of weeks. Guys, can we do a little bit of a new game? Would you guys mind if we did that?
I'm so excited.
Sure. We're going to do a new game.
Aaron's excited. That usually means bad things for the rest of us.
Aaron, this is your brainchild and such a great name. I want you to formally introduce this. What are we playing today?
I'm going to give it a little background because it's important. We played a game a few times on the show called Where's the Lie, which is a lot of fun. And in fact, we did in our live episode, and it was great in our live episode. Super fun.
Yeah, it was.
If you have a chance, go back and listen to the episode. It's great. But the problem that we're having is we realize that because we are doing this remotely, it was a buzz-in kind of show, and we realized that Colin, while he thought he was buzzing in right on time, there was delay, and so he would just get like ferociously angry every time we played this game because
which was
he
hilarious.
Buzzed in first, but from my end, he popped in like 10 seconds late. So we had to stop playing that game because it just did not work from a technical standard. So, but we love the concept of one, learning some history, and seeing if we can sort out the truth from the lies. So we have a new version of this game that we are calling Merlot or Malarkey. And so this game, no buzzing in, doesn't work. Perfect. I'm going to read 5 statements, and Joel and Colin are both going to be able to say whether they think it is true or false. Bonus point if they say that's false and they can give me the correct stat or piece of information. All right, gentlemen?
Let's do it.
Yes.
All right. Joel, I'm thinking of a number 1, 2, or 3. What number am I thinking of, Joel?
You're thinking of a 2.
No. Colin?
3.
Yes. All right. Hey. Colin, do you want to go first or second?
I'll go first. Let's do it.
Oh, buddy. All right. Now, mind you, you're both going to get to pick. Here we go. Merlot or Malarkey? Barolo was originally a sweet wine until the mid-19th century. Colin?
Malarkey.
I'm going to also say Malarkey.
Not a great start. You're both wrong. That is true. Early Barolo was made in semi-sweet style until winemaker Giulia Faletti, the Marchesa of Barolo, as a Calelli, I should know that's probably Marchesa of Barolo, helped transition it to a dry wine with help from a French enologist.
Neat. That's a fun fact.
Neato. So lock that away, listener. Yeah. Barolo used to be a sweet wine. And y'all learned something, and Joel and Colin have 0 points.
Very good.
All right. Number 2, Joel, this is on you. The Nebbiolo grape, which makes Barolo, gets its name from the Italian word for fog because it's harvested in the misty fall mornings.
Merlot.
Okay. So the one thing you said there is harvested. And I don't know if it's harvested. The fog does make a difference, but I don't know if it's harvested in the morning. So because you said that, I'm gonna go Malarkey.
Unfortunately, I think you're overthinking it. The word etymology is just the word etymology. Nebbiolo is related to the word fog. Nebbia means fog.
Well, okay, but harvested anyway. Doesn't matter.
When you take a test in ELA, you learn to ignore the part of the sentence that has nothing to do with the question, which is simply, what does the word Nebbiolo have to do with anything? Nebbia means fog. Joel,
yeah, well, again, based on my description, you should have known that I knew that, but I thought I was
surprised you went that way. I actually was hoping that question was just going to screw up Joel because he never listens. So I thought he was just missing the fact that we talked about that last week.
Thought it was a trick question.
Listen, not a trick. Sorry. All right, here we go. Question number 3, back to you, Colin. Merlot or Malarkey, Barolo is legally required to age for at least 24 months in oak and 12 months in bottle before release.
Malarkey.
Both of you are correct. You both have 1 point. Colin, it's going to go back to you. Can you give me the actual requirement?
Barolo is 5 years total with 18 months in wood.
False. It's Malarkey.
It's incorrect.
I'm looking directly into this. Do I get a point if I get it right? 3 years with 18 months in barrel.
Joel has that correct. It is 3 years minimum aging with 18 months in oak. Well done, Joel. That means
I got that wrong.
Joel got 1 point before, 2 points now for the bonus. Colin got a point for getting the initial question right. So Joel is currently winning 3-1. Not an insurmountable lead by any definition.
By some definitions.
Not by any definition. All right, it's getting harder now, gentlemen. Joel, The first official Barolo DOCG designation was granted in 1966.
Malarkey.
I'm going to say Malarkey as well.
You are both correct. That is Malarkey. Yes, Barolo became a DOC in 1966, but when did the DOCG status appear?
Beat to
Do
Joel
I get to guess first?
Yeah, go ahead and take a guess.
I am going to go ahead and say 1976.
That's incorrect.
And I have no idea, but I'm going to guess 83.
Ooh, if we averaged both of your answers, it would have come to 1980, which would have been the correct answer. So both you get a point. You both knew that was, in fact, Malarkey. So Joel is currently winning 4-2. Let's see what's coming up next for question 5. Here we go. This one goes back to Colin. The village of Barolo itself is only one of several legally allowed to produce Barolo wine.
I'm going to say that's Merlot.
I'm going to say that's Malarkey.
Ooh, and the race tightens. That is, in fact, true. The Barolo DOCG includes 11 communes, including La Mora, Monforte de Alba, Serralunga de Alba, Castiglione, Falletto, and, of course, the village of Barolo itself.
I figured that might be true because Barbaresco wasn't only Barbaresco.
I knew that.
It's like an area. Yeah. It's an area. So
I figured Barolo would be like,
like
this. They'd be like, oh, no, it's only Barolo.
All right.
Bro.
That brings Colin to 3. The race is 4-3. Anyone's game.
Ooh.
All right, Joel.
Yes.
Barolo must be made exclusively from Nebbiolo. However, blending up to 10% dolcetto is permitted for DOCG labeling.
Malarkey.
Yeah, I'm going to say Malarkey too. I'm pretty sure it has to be 100% Nebbiolo.
That is Malarkey. Yes, you're both correct. But I tried to say that with a lot of conviction.
You did good. You did good. I thought about it.
You almost had Joel. Yeah, I think you almost had Joel.
I was like, that would have been a turning point for the whole thing. All right, Barolo DOCG must be 100% Nebbiolo. No blending is allowed. There wasn't really room there to fix the fact there, which means Joel has won the first ever Merlot or Malarkey in a very nail-biting win, 5-4.
I say we retire the game and hang my number in the rafters. Let's do it.
That's it.
It was fun while it lasted.
Yep. No, that was pretty good. Definitely more fair, though, than the previous version of this game.
I will agree.
Excited to keep it going.
Yes. Totally agree. And we learned a little bit more and reaffirmed our understanding of some Barolo practices. So thank you.
100%
Great game.
Nebbiolo, baby. That's it.
Play it more. Yeah. No, good stuff, man. Good stuff. Love it. All right. Listen, I think that's all we have time for today, guys. This has been wonderful. Again, what a great journey. Longue, Barbaresco, Barolo. Learned so much. Enjoyed some beautiful wine from Cantine Povero. Thank you so much again to Lucrezia Povero for joining us and sharing just her experience and her story and her wine with us. It's been so lovely. And thank you for coming along with us too. It's been a lot of fun. So the end of our Nebbiolo series, but don't worry, we'll be back next week with another wonderful episode, just like normal, and we'll see what crazy stuff we get into in the future. Before we go to Aaron, if anybody wants to hang out with us, talk to us, where can they do that?
Yeah, hit us up on Instagram. A lot of fun going on there. Stop wasting your wine. And always, if you want to engage with the show, if you want to come on the show, if you have a wine that you want to recommend, feel free to email us at cheers@stopwastingyourwine.com. Cheers.
Love it. Well, cheers to you guys. Cheers to you, listener. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll see you again on another episode next week. And remember, stop wasting your wine.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.